I'm Brooke.
I'm Kade.
And this is our 23-foot skoolie conversion. Alright, so when you first come up the stairs, you are going to see a little shoe rack and then a spot for our journals too, because we are big into journaling. You're also going to see some binoculars because we hope to be big into bird watching. It's a new thing we're hopefully going to get into. Then we got our beautiful cowhide seat here. Reupholstered.
From our apartment rug.
So we converted this entire build ourselves. It took us about 2.5 years. It was something we kind of did on the weekends. We were both working full-time jobs, trying to save up money, do the build all at the same time. And also we had no idea what in the hell we were doing. I mean, we couldn't even build a carpenter square. It took us 3 times to even build a box. And then after we got the basics, it kind of started to fly, but we still ended up making 2 or 3 mistakes before we got it right. But eventually, 2.5 years later, this is Bandit. This is what we're living in, and we are loving it. So right here, we have a dinette, and this actually drops down into a little couch, guest bed type thing.
In case we have any visitors in our tiny home.
Yes. And then right here we have our wood burning stove. As you can see, these are all live edge countertops that we actually put together ourselves. Yeah. And then under here we have just some wood storage, some additional storage as well.
You don't want to show them what's in there, honey, right now?
Oh yeah, you want to check it out? It's actually pretty clean, so I'm not too embarrassed. So we just got some additional paper storage, and then we're not great at building fires yet, so we got some fire starter too. We built these doors, so the tin on here actually came from my grandparents' farm, which you will kind of see a theme of that throughout the bus. We actually have a barn door back here as well that is over 200 years old from my family farm.
It was the old chicken coop door, barn door, and then we just kind of pulled it out of the what was farm. It's kind of like run down and nobody really picked it up in her family, so everything's just kind of decrepit. But we kind of salvaged as much as we could from there to kind of throw in some character pieces in the bus. It was important to us, especially because we're so far away from home now, that it's kind of nice to kind of carry those pieces with us. So fam's still with us, but...
Yeah. So our first apartment together was 198 square feet, and our countertops were, no joke, this big. And so when we built this bus, we said we need countertops, and so that's what you'll see. We have this beautiful sliding pullout because I have a thing for soup, so we have a bunch of soup all the time.
Beanie weenies.
Beanie weenies for the wifey. So this was actually just raw cabinets, and we stained them, put the rattan on them, got different, I can't even think of what this is called. Hardware.
The hardware.
We got some hardware. We were really into kind of rustic hardware, which you can actually only find in like the livestock store and the barn section of Menards. So if you're ever looking for something a little bit more Western, check that out. All right, and then we have this beautiful, massive sink. Again, our tiny apartment had a sink about this big, so this was a must-have for us. And then this is our little propane cooking stove, super simple. It's just powered by the little green canisters of propane. And it also has an oven in here as well. This fridge is a DC powered fridge, so it can run off barely any solar for like weeks at a time. We definitely paid a pretty penny for it. However, the fact that it is so energy efficient and so big is incredible. And all of the stickers actually came from when we got married. We told all of our guests to bring a sticker to put on the fridge for the bus. So that's kind of what you'll see here. And we've also taken this thing to a few music festivals as well. So we got a couple of those. So one thing we wanted was an outdoor shower, and we couldn't really figure out how we were going to do it without doing plumbing outside the bus. And we found this nice little head that you just spin around and click on. Bam, outdoor shower just like that. And this is our bathroom. Bathrooms are very important to us, so we do have what's kind of considered a rain shower, I guess, if you want to come and check it out. It's a removable shower head, but it is so nice when it comes to pressure. This is just cement that we essentially, what is it, Quickcrete?
Quickcrete.
It's Quickcrete that we put on top of cement board, and it created this beautiful kind of modern look in the bathroom.
So then as we move to the back of the bus, we have a small closet here. Really important to me because I have shorter hair and sometimes I wake up and it's wild. So I was able to convince Brooke to let me bring on like 20 hats with like a bunch of bandanas and stuff. We have like makeup bag. In the far back is like stuff we don't really use a lot. Like, I don't know, if we're sick, we have like cold medicine, like random stuff. We have a tiny little jewelry box. And this mirror is so special. We actually just put it up with like the double-sided adhesive tape, and it can hold like 10 pounds per however many inches. The best thing about this is it took us 2 tries. We shattered 2 of them to get it on here. But it was really important to Brooke. It was very important.
I need a mirror when I get dressed.
And then this is fun. I actually made these little light switches by hand. We carved them all ourselves and like cut them out ourselves. And then Brooke actually put together these massive drawers that come out from underneath the bed. They're probably like, I want to say like 3 feet deep.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever tried to make a drawer from scratch. It was time consuming. We thought it was going to be a short project, and it ended up being a very long project, and everything has to be perfectly square and perfectly fit in there. And it took a few tries for those. So really happy about those. Lots of clothes storage. And this is our bed. So essentially back here, we've also created a little bit of storage at the foot of the bed. We have socks and undies, shirts, and then we have a little fan back here. Lots of room for activities. And then, I don't know, we have a plethora of little stuffed animals that we couldn't get rid of. So that's really adulting. And then if you come over here, this is a jackalope that's been in my family for I think like 3 generations or something. None of my other siblings wanted it. It was really important to me. And it also holds all of our fanny packs for when we are going out into the world and need to keep track of our things.
So we have 800 watts of solar panels on top. We have 2 lithium batteries, and they're 200 amp hours each. Yeah, and then we have a 60 amp solar charger, and then of course inverter, all that fun stuff.
Yep. And then for water, we have, I believe it's a 40-gallon freshwater tank, and then a 30-gallon gray water tank. Forgot to mention, our toilet is essentially just like a little squatty potty. We just didn't really want to deal with like black water.
Okay, so when it comes to AC, we do have 2 little fans here that kind of suck air in and out, but we have an AC that's actually kept in our closet. We do have to be connected to shore power because it's actually 1200 watts as soon as it powers up, so it would drain our batteries instantly. But whenever we are at campsites and it's really hot outside, we just kind of have to plan accordingly and hook up or suck it up pretty much.
Find somewhere to go swimming.
Yeah, but as far as our power system goes, we really never have to worry about running out of power unless we were to run that AC unit. So we took the leap and bought the extra lithium battery like right before we hit the road. We had one, and they're $1,000 a piece, so they're not cheap. But we knew that if we were in Oregon or something and it was raining a ton, we did not want to not be able to charge our phones or have our fridge on. So it was definitely worth it to add that additional battery.
So even before we had the bus, before we even thought about buying it, we went to Menards, and these are like the bear paint swabs that you take to like your home to see what you want. And we created a little mini model of what our bus was going to look like. And I'd say it's pretty spot on. Thankfully, our bus is not as mangled as this model. But yeah, it was really cute. We kind of brought them all home, and it was just a daydream in this little paint swab model. And now it's crazy that 2.5 years later, it's a reality. So it's really cool. And if you're thinking about doing something like this or anything else in life, I think it's important to just go for it. I think when we bought the bus, it was like, oh, well, now we have it, so we have to do it. So just take that first step, and one project, one little thing at a time, and it's definitely worth it.
So I grew up riding horses as a kid, and my mom kind of always kept a piece of their mane, and she made this cute little decoration for us so that we could remember them when we were on the road. Okay, so you'll see little stickers here that say "Smile, you're on camera," and that is because you are. We have security cameras 360 or on the bus recording 24/7 as two women on the road. We didn't really know what safety was going to be like, and we didn't really want to mess around. So as you can see, maybe when you walked in, there's pepper spray hanging right at the door, and then we got our cameras. It's just something that makes us feel secure. It's just a blink system, and it connects to our Wi-Fi box inside.
So they're also two-way audio. So if we see someone kind of like walking around, maybe being sketch because it alerts us, we can be like, yo, back it up, homie. Or like when we first got them to test them out, Brooke was like in the bus, and we were like, okay, we could pretend we're dogs. And we have a big dog in the bus, and Brooke was like, whoa, whoa, barking at me to test it out. It was quite funny. But we haven't really, I mean, we've only been on the road in this bus for 5 days, so we're pretty fresh to it. We haven't really had any experiences where we had to use them yet, but I'm hoping that one day I can, in like a not so creepy way. Sorry.
You can just holler at someone. So we chose to mount our water tanks under the actual bus so that we would have a ton of space in our garage here. So actually the entire bed underneath is
all of our junk
open. Yeah, so we keep electric guitar back here, skateboards, motorcycle helmets.
I think I have my typewriter in there.
Yeah, camping stuff. And it's just kind of stuff we don't need on a regular basis, but if we're set up and we have our motorcycle dropped, we can access it. Okay, so this will tell you that we are amateur builders all the way. I was really just
napping. I was napping at the time that she drilled the hole in the back of the bus.
I was getting after it that day. I was like, I'm gonna get this thing done. I don't need instructions. Like, we've almost finished this bus. And I drilled a hole, not right, and so we have this beautiful shim here to get the lock to line up right.
And she was very, very upset. Like, she just thought she ruined the entire bus by just this one hole. So then we made it a fun thing. And I think it's important when you're frustrated or upset with something, like, it's not the end of the world, and a lot of this build, it felt like the end of the world when things weren't perfect. But we keep this little shim. We could have cut it down so that it was like nice and you couldn't see it, but I thought it was important to leave it. And so we signed it, the shim, on July 28th. So not only was the hole not right, but then when we finally got it right and it would latch, then the door wouldn't shut. So we had to burrow a hole into the bed frame, but nobody will ever really notice except for everyone watching this now. But it doesn't affect our day-to-day life. And is it the end of the world? No. Last but not least, we have our motorcycle rack in the back. We figured when we're driving the bus around, we would probably want to park it. The gas for this thing is insane, probably about $200, $250, depending. Well, West Coast probably even more. So we figured the motorcycle would be our daily drive. Like I said, we've only been on the road for 5 days, maybe a week. Within the first 30 minutes of us leaving, this beautiful 4-inch exhaust pipe melted one of our straps, and we had to pull over on the side of the highway to make sure our bike wasn't going to fall over. Then, essentially, after the ratchet strap got melted, we thankfully were able to get to a Harley-Davidson store where this nice man hooked us up with some brand new ratchet straps. He even came outside and helped us put them back on. And I was like, we avoided the exhaust pipe so the ratchet strap wouldn't melt. And then I asked him if we had to worry about the tire, and he said, no, it should be okay. I was like, okay, we don't need a heat guard or anything. We get here today at Vanlife Pride, and we go to take the bike down. Back tire is completely melted and unrideable. So here, I'll show you. So this is where the exhaust was blowing. It's like rock hard, like I can just like, it's fried and flat. So our dreams of riding around the desert for Vanlife Pride and taking it around were a little bit crushed, but we have a plan to get it fixed. So essentially we're going to reroute the exhaust so that it no longer can affect anything we put in the back of the bus. So note to self, if you ever do a build and you want to put anything on the back, just take the time to move your exhaust pipe out of the way. But
Thanks for checking out our Western bus. You can follow us at wild_bandits on Instagram.
see ya.